Mecha obviously don't fit into our current weapon tech development. But in Mecha Break, why do humans still keep pushing down this path? We all know mecha are war machines. Compared to planes, they're not as agile, and they can't do long-range strikes like air-ground systems. Compared to tanks, mecha might pack more firepower and fire more often. But the real issue with mecha is they're bigger targets than tanks, and being bigger means they take more firepower. Plus, if their legs or other key spots get hit, they lose balance right away. Losing balance then leads to reduced combat ability. So how did humans pivot their tech focus toward mecha instead of pushing advanced planes? To answer these questions, we've got to dig into the background of Mecha Break. First, the first humanoid walking machine showed up on the moon. The moon's low gravity and almost zero air resistance allow the machine's structure to be used to its fullest. This also reduces maintenance requirements for these seemingly fragile walking machines, making them more cost-effective. Also, scientists developed a new rocket engine that runs on pure water. Therefore, compared to aircraft that need liquid hydrogen and oxygen as fuel, these walkers definitely have more advantages in terms of endurance. If the fuel tank malfunctions, which do you think is safer, water or highly combustible liquid hydrogen? The answer is obvious. Some would also say, why not put this new engine on a spacecraft? That's easy to answer. Say in League of Legends, you designed a champion. 5 years later, players want you to rework one of its skills. As a designer, doesn't this drive you nuts? You know, the idea of reworking Scorpion came up years ago. It took 4 or 5 years to finally get it done. Planes, submarines, and warships. These are way more complex than games. Trying to rebuild them from scratch or retrofit them requires specialized components designed for them. If that question comes up, the focus isn't on changing the design. It's on getting rid of whoever asked it in the first place. After scientists started using walkers, they found out what walkers could do. They offer much better cost effectiveness compared to aircraft, wheeled vehicles, and tracked transport. So scientists started looking at humanoid mecha. Then let's shift our focus back to Earth. At that point, Earth was being hit by the catastrophe. The surface was in ruins. Old roads and rails had been wiped out long ago. All that was left were ravines and treacherous, uneven terrain. So at this point, you need something that could get over mountains and move supplies without getting stopped by obstacles and drop in wherever needed on the spot, without having to worry about atmospheric conditions. You need a vehicle that can operate freely on the sea and climb mountains reaching 10,000 meters high, or go to rifts 1,000 meters deep. Humans are the perfect tools in this case, but one person can only carry so much supply. Why not just scale this person up? Make a 10-meter-tall humanoid walker. So that's how the first mech on Earth came to be. But Earth isn't like the moon. It has stronger gravity and more air resistance. So mecha need even more power. After studying and researching the corite on Earth, scientists built a new kind of engine. This engine uses corite in its core. It's almost like the fusion engines we have now. It only needs a head-sized piece of corite to deliver a nearly endless, steady stream of power. That also shows how adaptable humans can be. This corite thing has brought humanity disasters that could wipe everything out. But it has also brought infinite hope. As humanity slowly recovered from disaster, clashing interests would make war and conflict unavoidable. Now, something is needed to carry heavy firepower and still be highly maneuverable. So the first war machine, the Striker, came into being. Of course, some might ask, Mecha can't outmatch planes. How could Mecha reach planes flying in the sky? Actually, that's a pretty simple question. There are two core factors. First, Earth's environment has changed a lot. The air is filled with deadly corite haze. Let me explain to those who aren't familiar with the Mecha Break world. This kind of corite haze will corrode whatever it touches, including metal. High concentrations of corite haze can cause plants and animals to weaken and die from Marston's disease. Their remains crystallize and mineralize. Even an entire region and a whole city could be covered by high-purity secondary corite and become a lifeless Marston's zone. And as the range increases, the corite concentration gets higher too. Whether it's missiles carried by aircraft or ground-based missiles, their radar guidance systems can't function under the interference of corite. At first, humans couldn't find a way to deal with corite. Therefore, those old war machines were put aside for now. Second, production lines for aircraft, tanks, and other weapons were all destroyed during the catastrophe. Some might say, just restart the production lines. No, dude, think about it. Even restarting the F-22 production line is nearly impossible. With the entire supply chain and manufacturing infrastructure gone, restarting a production line is basically the same as developing a whole new piece of equipment from scratch. So in Mecha Break, mechas are a big deal. They symbolize humanity's resilience against nature, our adaptability in the face of disaster, and our determination to ensure the survival of our civilization. Of course, all this is just a game. There could be plenty of hidden issues behind it, but having a solid explanation is way better than just making things up. This also shows how much CSUN cares about Mecha Break, the commitment of the Mecha Break dev team, and the passion they've put into the project. Mecha Break has already entered Season 2. Looking forward to teaming up with everyone in-game for some epic mecha battles. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button for more Mecha Break content.